Now we start first with the Labour Party story, where after weeks of campaigning across several states in the northeast, northwest, southeast, south-south and some southwest states, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, in the February 25th election, has taken his final campaign to states a step further as he holds a mega rally in the populous southwest state of Lagos to conclude his campaigns. There were, however, reports of attacks on some of his supporters in Lagos, with cars also smashed by alleged supporters of the Progressive Congress in the state. But it's been a very, very important rally, because this brings to a conclusion all the rally as undertaken by Peter Obi across Nigeria. Well, joining us now is Edozie Ezeugwa, who is a member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, and later we'll be having joining us Zari Yusuf, who is a member of the Obidati Independent Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about your rallies all through, with the mega rally that's culminating in Lagos. I mean, what have Nigerians been expecting all through, and then how did your rallies go, and what will you say the experience has been like? I mean, I saw you in some of the rallies here and there during the campaigns, and of course you're holding this mega one in Lagos. The accusations is that why is Peter Obi not taking it to his home state of Anambra? That's what the APC people are saying in Lagos. Why bringing it to Lagos?
Thank you so much for having me on our platform. I must have to say that we have been able to, converse nooks and crannies of Nigerians, north and south. We can put our hands on our chest to say that we are satisfied with our campaign so far, irrespective of the hiccups and the problem created by the opposition parties and different states where we went. Like what happened today, see the attacks in our supporters across board. Well, the most important thing is that Principal Peter has been able to, get our message to the suburb, to the remotest part of our Nigerians, selling our manifestos, telling people what he has to do, and trying to demonstrate how we are going to secure Nigeria first, and end the insurgents and bring peace back to Nigeria, reconcile Nigerians, irrespective of the number of ethnic groups we have. Again, we are beginning to be worried when we look at what is playing out. The leadership tussle between the president ruling government and the party itself. This trouble started during their primaries. You can see during the primaries how the whole thing plays out anyway. And that crisis has not been stepped down. And it consists and continue to, at this particular period now, trying to snowball into the main election proper. And that is what poses a threat to this election. Because you can see when the president, I don't know whether we have two authorities in Nigeria. We have, the last time I checked, President Buhari still remains Nigerian president. But it always appears to us that when the president issues some orders, then there will be a counter, some people placed in a position of authority, one way or the other, trying to manipulate. Is it
like the proverbial cabal that has been mentioned here and there?
Exactly. Trying to, scuttle the orders of the presidency. And you see the internal crisis between the leadership of the party and the president, especially the presidential candidate of the party. So, of recent, you see the outburst on one of the campaign rallies that the president, his actions are trying to demarcate the party. And on the basis of that, they goes ahead to, a kind of this against jabs against the government. In the past, they are the people who can now say that they own it. They are the people who enthroned the present government we have.
Yeah,
and
but isn't that to your own advantage? I mean, shouldn't Labour Party be taking advantage of the infighting between the governing APC and, of course, some of its members? And then, of course, I want to find out how you, as the Labour Party, has been managing your campaign during this period of cash crunch. We've seen Peter Obi saying that, look, it's a good policy, the Naira redesign, but it's just that Nigerians should be patient and all of that. But how has the party been able to manage this campaign in the midst of this cash crunch everyone is facing?
That again goes further to demonstrate to you that the P2B the supporters are organic. P2B himself is a force, and the groups, the supporters, are so organic in the nature. They don't have to use because of whatever. These are Nigerians who have gone through 80 years of pains and sorrow perpetuated by the present government. Them resolve within themselves, no, irrespective of what they are seeing. They have seen worse before. They have seen this worse before, we've never seen. If now seen a situation where you will be denied the right to have access to your phone in the bank. You have now a situation where the fuel, especially at this critical period, where the pump price of fuel can be up to 500, 600. When we are in the remotest part of the Niger, when we went to campaign and all those Kwara and the rest of them, but sometimes we go to the filling station, they will not tell you that they are selling 600 naira. If you don't have cash, they don't take charge or the POT.
No
if
transfer,
you don't, no transfer.
POS.
If you don't have this, you can see what Nigerians are going through. So, but upon all these things, they are on the street. They are bent in getting their PVC to vote to affect a change. But the fact remains that there is a signal from the party, the ruling party, that they are trying to maneuver, scuttle this election coming up. One way or the other, some people are calling for interim government. Some people are calling for extension of the date of election. Some people are not comfortable that the election is going to be held on 25th of February. There's a lot of things that is playing out.
Yeah, but how have you been tackling that from your campaign? Because it looks like the Labour Party has not been having its voice made known fully on that, especially from the campaign. You are not a member of the Labour Party's national executive. You're not a party leader per se, but you're in the campaign. So how come it looks like the Labour Party presidential campaign doesn't seem to be hitting hard like the way maybe the PDP is doing against the APC and, of course, the infighting within the government? Don't you think that the Labour Party, again, should be taking advantage of this to actually provide solutions? These are the alternatives you will get if you elect us. Especially policy alternatives. What would you do if, for example, you're faced with this cash redesign? And then, of course, what will you do if you're faced with this issue of fuel shortage? Those are the things Nigerians will be expecting from you.
Well, it's not issues of coming in on air and begin to overheat the system. We are carefully watching the situation. There are some people, some Nigerians, who do not want this election to happen. But we want this election so that we will now be rest assured that we have a change of government, peaceful change. Nigeria is in such conditions now that anything can trigger off crisis that you cannot control, and this present government cannot control it.
Okay, so that's why the Labour Party is managing the situation.
We are using diplomacy to follow and communicate to the authority that matters. Especially, there's a lot for us to engage on. Take, for instance, look at these issues of police deployment. Most top candidates are the two frontline political parties, the APC and the PDP. They have their voice. They influence the posting, deploy to different states.
Are you talking about the police?
Deployment.
State commands and
state
of course
commands and all those
DIGs
and the rest of them. There's a lot of things that is going on. But we are taking it and engaging them one by one. But until we come to that stage when it becomes very difficult, we will now, because what they are now looking at, they want a situation where we overheat the system. Then the issues of interim government and issues of postponing the election will come in. We don't want that. We want us to have that elections. Let us go to that 25th. Decide. Nigerians will give themselves the leadership they want.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of things that is going on, and I want to use this opportunity to warn the presidential candidate of APC, should call his supporters to order. A number of our people were wounded in Lagos.
Yeah, I mean,
some of them are
those accusations that they attacked vehicles, and of course they stopped some Labour Party supporters from going to the campaign venue and all of that. But what evidence do you have that is the governing APC and the supporters that are causing that?
You don't need that. You are moving away from one point A to point B. When they see you that you are one of the obese, obedient movements, and somebody will now confront you, before you know it, they start beating you without anything.
Yeah, but those people may not necessarily be APC supporters.
How can it be? I have
because I mean, if you are to say that the APC supporters, you need to provide a lot of evidence that this is what APC supporters
we are going to provide evidence, because at different centers now, they are being treated just like what happened in the NSAS. The people wounded are being treated in different clinics and hospitals. Some of them, we have some emergency, medical personnel that is following on whenever we are having this type of campaigning. They are giving them the first, reviving them at different centers and that kind of thing. Some of them are ending in the hospital now. So we are taking inventories of what is going on, but we are going to confront them unless the Inspector General of Police will look the other way. The Ballet of Bara at the Lekki area, summon people, non-indigents and indigents, and warn them that if Tinubu fails for this election, that they prepare to face a very serious actions. That they
have that on record?
Yes, of course I can show you to you. I can show it to you.
Well, and you didn't take such an accusation to the police.
No,
I mean,
but I told you that we are taking inventories of what is playing out, especially in Lagos. So we are not going to take it just like that.
Now, let's ask you this question. Why would people be opposing a potential Obi presidency, especially from Lagos? What exactly is the problem with Obi in Lagos? Is it that they see him, maybe the APC in Lagos see him as a threat? He could actually reduce the potential votes of Bola Tinubu and the APC in Lagos. Is that the reason why they're against him? Or why do you think there's so much antagonism, quote, if I may say that way, against Peter Obi in Lagos?
Yes, you can see, when you're in a game of football, the person with the ball is the person that are pushing to give a tackle. Why?
So Peter Obi is the man with the ball.
So you have to pursue him anywhere. So he can use any means. He can deploy any means.
In a Lagos where Labour Party doesn't have even one councillor?
Watch out. People are fed up with all these kangaroos distance. People are fed up. Go to Lagos. Go and see what people are going through every day. They've said enough is enough. So the issues of trade and all those, this cannot work out this time around. I feel that this is the time for them to make a change. And that is why these cabals are afraid that if you leave these people, you see the stadium, you see the place we are having this, you can see the number of people, the traffic, the Lagos was completely shut down today. You can see the people on their own. We didn't just go and begin to put a vehicle to go and carry people to come and wherever Peter is going for campaign, Larry, it doesn't go and they begin to, people mobilize themselves, transport themselves to the venue. And after we finish, they will now return back and continue from where they stop. That shows you Nigerians.
So does that mean Peter Obi is a threat to the government of Lagos State run by the APC? Is that what you're saying?
Not only the Lagos State, in every other states.
Yeah,
they saw him as a threat.
If you focus on Obi alone, what about the other governorship candidate of the Labour Party, which people say is not so popular in Lagos State? And then, of course, the senatorial candidates and other House of Rep or maybe House of Assembly candidates. I mean, why is the focus so much on Peter Obi and lesser on other candidates that are campaigning under the Labour Party?
Thank you so much for that question. Did you watch the debates, the gubernatorial debate in Lagos?
In Lagos State, yes.
You can see it. You see three of them. The incumbent escaped and run away.
Well, maybe he thought they are not
he can give any other. He can give you any excuses to escape because you know that he's not going to withstand those guys. Vivos showed them what stuff is made up of. But when you look at the whole thing, he provided solutions. When he said something, he provided solutions. At the end of that debate, he came out very, very disillusioned. He said hi. And the people themselves commented on it. This is the type of governorship we want. youthful.
And you think Roosevelt will win the governorship seat in Lagos?
Yeah, you don't have to say it.
In a state that has been controlled by APC since...
Watch out. It's not going to be the time we are using the incident form again. It's going to be with these beavers. With these beavers. There is alleged plots that some presidential candidate imported the beavers for them to smuggle in, swab during the election. And that is why that Lagos state is going to be one of the...
This is an allegation, and of course, that would have to prove that in the open. Do you have facts that a certain presidential candidate is importing beavers, and where would he have got the beavers from? Because you need a lot of convincing to do for a lot of Nigerians to be able to believe you. So that it's not just one of those political talks.
Okay, just let's watch out. These are one of those things. We have read so many issues, worries us. But at the end of the day, it's unfolding. But we are watching. You are aware that certain ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, during the time they are distributing the PVCs, deliberately in Lagos State, refuse to give them the PVCs. It's open.
Yeah, we've seen even the main opposition PDP have been calling for the for the replacement of the INEC resident electoral commissioner in Lagos and all of that. But let me ask you this: do you have implicit confidence in INEC and its ability to be able to guarantee free, fair, and credible elections?
Yeah, so far at the moment, yes, we have on the leadership of Mahmoud Yakubu, but I don't know those under him, because he might have good intentions. But what of those working under him? There's a lot of conspiracies. During the period of elections, most of the politicians move in. And when they move in, they try to scuttle all the plans towards free and fair elections. For instance, when the beavers is being sent in different locations, they influence it. Look at what happened in this recent mock conduct.
The mock election where the beavers was
all
tested.
The beavers sent to the southeast and south, all of them completely fell.
Well, not all of them, because
completely fell. I'm just telling you with authority.
not all of them, based on what we have seen from preliminary reports by civil society organizations.
Preliminary report demonstrate that why they want to reduce the voting strength of the people from the southeast and south.
Well, that's a very strong allegation. Have you asked INEC those questions or put it to INEC that look, you're not comfortable with those kind of things that you're alleging?
Result, they has exposed a lot of things. So we are taking it up with them. Why is it that the southeast and south, why is it that the other zone, geopolitical zones, we didn't have such a complaint? Why is it that southeast and south? Somebody is somewhere trying to come up with manipulations.
Because you think that's Peter Obi's home base.
That is the home base of the
affected.
They want to reduce the voting strength of the southeast and south during the election. That is the election leaguing already. When you now decide,
we hope INEC will take a look at this.
When you're trying to shift to the southeast, all the beavers and all the electronic distance that cannot function, they are on the process. You reduce, people will now come and stay on the line for many hours. At the end of the day, they cannot vote. Differentiating Nigerians from their right to perform their obligations.
Well, there's a very strong allegation, and we just hope that
we are watching and we are following it up, so that if we must have this election, the INEC people must come very clean and clear.
Yeah, but you will also have to send in a petition.
We have been sending a petition.
You sent it to INEC, and they've received a petition about these beavers that you're talking about during the last mock election.
If I have known that this is, I will give you a copy of what we have sent.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll all look up to INEC to be able to
and
resolve
the police,
that.
The security have to be very careful, because the present situation of things in Nigeria does not allow anybody to come out to be seen to be manipulating the process. And any attempt to do so, you can ignite a trouble that cannot stop
Okay, I'll just ask you to hold on while we go on the short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We're still here discussing the Labour Party and its grand finale rally that's ongoing in Lagos State, where we've seen Peter Obi trying to use the opportunity to canvass votes, and then, of course, telling his supporters a very big thank you for coming out to give him all the backing after going through different parts of the country. But, of course, we'll come back from this break. We'll also be joined by another member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. This time around is going to be coming from the Obidati Independent Campaign Council, like they like to call themselves. And of course, we'll talk about the campaign tours of the Labour Party throughout the country, and of course, their successful outing as the third force of political parties within the country in what started like just a mere issue that nobody actually gave Labour Party a chance. But with Peter Obi being strong all through, we've seen some successful outing by the party across parts of the country. Let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. You're still watching This Week, and I'm Somna Sambo. Of course, we've been reviewing some of the things that have been happening during the week, and of course, with the big issue being Labour Party's presidential rally that's rounding off in Lagos State today. This is the mega rally where we've seen the Labour Party ending all their state rallies in Lagos, and it's a very huge event that has been ongoing. And of course, I've had some Labour Party chieftains here, and of course, I earlier was discussing with Edozie Ezeugwa, who's a member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, and joining us now is Zari Yusuf, who's a member of the Obidati Independent Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we have information coming up right now from the Labour Party itself, where it's saying that some APC thugs have unleashed some violence against them. Allegedly, they were disrupting the Labour Party rally in Lagos. And of course, that statement is coming from the Labour Party spokesman, presidential campaign spokesman, Yunusa Tanko, who says that thugs believed to be from the All Progressives Congress have launched allegedly brutal attacks on Labour Party supporters in Lagos. And he said that their aim was to stop the the supporters of Obidati candidacy from attending the campaign rally holding at the Tafawa Balewa Square throughout today in Lagos. And of course, the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council Chief Spokesperson Yunusa Tanko, in a text message sent to Arise News, said many people had been injured, with windscreen of several vehicles shattered by the hoodlums. He said, and I quote him, "It's highly regrettable that Lagos, which assumes the most sophisticated city in Africa, could witness this type of barbarism in 21st century." End of quote. Well, there's a video to that effect, and I'll just want to play that video just before we go into the conversation.
You can see it. They attacked us. They attacked us. They attacked us. You can see this guy now. They use machine and scatter their hands. Wait. Sorry, you can see them. Show your face. Hey, don't hide your face. They scatter their hands. See our motto. See our motto. They attacked us at Abalanje. Now see our motto. Adeniji. They attacked us at Adeniji. Now they see our motto. See them. See this one. Where's the black? See them. We need you. We need the help, please. We need the help, please. They attacked us as we are coming. You know, they see them. See them. They attacked the obedient people. They injured us. They came in mass with cutlass and gun. A heavy weapon.
All right, we just want to mention that that's just the video of a particular incident now sent in by the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council through its spokesperson, Tanko Yunusa, who is calling on the security agencies and the international community to hold, quote, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the ruling APC government responsible for mayhem that has been unleashed on obedience today, end of quote. Well, I still have with me here Chief Edozie Ezeugwa, who's a member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, and of course Zari Yusuf, who is a member of the Obidati Independent Campaign Council. Let's start with you, Zari. What's been your reaction towards all of this news that's coming out from Lagos as to the final mega rally being held by your party and your presidential candidate? Final mega rally, as you called it, I think the mission primarily is to make sure that at the very climax of our campaign, you know, that icing on the cake, somebody ruins it. So when Yunus Atanko sensed that, I have worked with him. He's a very meticulous man. He's not moved by emotions. I'm not in Lagos. I've been following from the very early hours of people, you know, congregating at different locations. You know, at the Big Tent, provisions were made for different places people will meet before they get to the center of the rally. I think it's pathetic, and it equally emphasizes to every Nigerian what we are likely going to be facing if we miss this very opportunity. Now, it's typical of the ruling party. Very, very typical. It's not the first time it's happened. Yeah, but when you say the ruling party, I mean, like I had read, these are just allegations. What evidence do you have that the APC actually sent these people? I mean, this could have been any other person on the streets of Lagos, yes, who maybe doesn't like Peter Obi or doesn't like Labour Party. That's right. Or, quote, the obedience. It could have been any other person, but we follow trends. I remember, you know, in the early parts of the campaign, in Kaduna State particularly, you know, the propaganda that you cannot have more than 20 people on the street, and if you so have them, it could have been IPOB that came in over the night and all of those things. How I read that, how most obedience read that, how the Labour Party read that was, it was a propaganda in advance, such that when you have 2,000 people, 3,000 people on the streets, you may have just 5 people creating violence. And once you've linked it to a group that has been proscribed, you would have given a justification for violence against them. Now, we don't, it's typical of states ruled by the ruling party. You understand? So when you have videos, there was a particular one that was supposed to be leaked, but I do not believe it was leaked, where Tinubu was talking about how people get power. You know, you grab it, you snatch it, you go away with it. Yeah, I mean, that was in London the other time, yes, when they went but the truth, the Chatham House. Yes, but the truth of the matter is, Lagos is the, I would say, the stronghold of the candidate of the ruling party, as far as I'm concerned, or he thinks it's the stronghold, and the people have been caged for too long. They want to set themselves free. And you think that they want to vote Labour Party if they want to set themselves free? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Because there have been these talks that Labour Party does not have the capacity to be able to upstage the APC in Lagos, because the APC has, you know, had a foothold over that state for several years. Just very quickly, I want you to end on that before I come to Edozie. Let me just be honest with you. What you see today in Lagos is a typical example of Labour Party's capacity to not just upstage, so because it's not just about taking power, it's about burying the old order. Yes, basically that's basically, no, basically that's just actually use some very strong words. Yeah, you could see it. You could see it in Lagos. Well, yes. It's left for our viewers and of course Nigerians to decide. But if you accuse the APC of masterminding this, then what will you say about the APC also ensuring that you had the venue, the Tafawa Balewa, you know, the square for you to be able to, you know, organize your rally and all of that? If they didn't want you to have that square, I mean, they could have used their strength to muzzle you out. We've seen some other state governors are doing that. Well, don't forget the fact that there was a time when Labours, they were doing a road walk, march, and the rest of them. And at a stage, they were opposed to it. And they have sometime one way or the other, we've gone to court and get these things sorted out. And all these things is all the hiccups, problem they want to, you know, create, so that we'll not be able to have a full impact. Because we know quite all right that they are, like he said, the old era is coming to the end. All those manipulations and the rest of them, all those thuggery in recruiting, exploiting the youths that are not doing anything, introduce them to criminalities and all those things. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, will normal human being use bottle or machete to choke the fellow human being?
just because you want to secure a favor. Why should you? Then you are asking, why are we sure that they are the people? You know these things, you don't need to, because we have been in the system. But all right. The cabal do not want Nigerian to be free and progress just like every other nation of the world. The status of Nigerian today on international engagement has been reduced to nothing. If you are traveling outside the country with people from even Ghana to go here, once you are in Nigeria, you'll be set aside.
Yeah, but that's why I said that you accuse the APC now, but this same APC allowed you to have access to the Tafawa Balewa Square.
No,
and you,
no,
I mean, that facility is owned by federal government, but of course, it's located in Lagos, and the state has some influence. So if the governor didn't want, like your spokesperson saying, if the governor didn't want that rally to take place, he would have frustrated, maybe he would have gone to one primary school like it's been happening in other states.
Let me tell you, you know, after our outing in the Nasarawa, when we went there, this started from the Nasarawa, the first outing we have. The governor in Nasarawa, totally frustrated us.
Governor Abdullahi Sule.
Yes, the day we secured the permission to hold our rally on that stadium. That particular day, this man vehemently refused, even impose restrictions. No movement, they are doing sanitations, refuse us from using that because we were thinking that we are not going to, have a distance there. But when eventually we find alternatives, you can see the number of people.
Yeah, but he was also using it against you that you couldn't fill up even an ordinary
I would have allowed. Why is he afraid? Why is he afraid? That is exactly what Lagos I can, subject it to. Then we are thinking that we are not going to fill the TBS. Oh. You can now see with your eyes what happened.
Okay.
And on the process, they resort to this type of thuggery and, using brutal force. Is it how it's going to be?
Well, it's an interesting perspective that you're bringing. So the initial thought was maybe, TBS will not be filled up.
Yes.
So when they saw the TBS being filled up,
they engaged on the use of thuggery.
Well, it's left for you to be able to prove that allegation. I come back to you. Talk to us about Peter Obi as we try to round off this conversation to get into the next issue. Why should Nigerians vote Peter Obi? And what has Peter Obi been telling Nigerians as he's been going around before this final mega rally, as you people call it, in Lagos?
Yes. Peter Obi is the rejected stone that has become the head of the chief cornerstone. That's right. You see, when you see an honest man, when you see a man whose private life, a man whose career in banking, a man whose career in governance speaks for itself, a man who connects with the masses. I was on an interview and I said to people, who would dare go into any market square, who would dare go into Mubi, who would dare go into southern Borno, the refugee camps, with all that they have suffered, and just face them like every ordinary Nigerian. You do not need a bulletproof car, you do not need the DSS, or the security pushing people away.
In one instance, he was even told not to take a helicopter to the southern part of Borno, but he did.
He did.
Defying the security advisory given to him.
So primarily, first we have a man who identifies with the masses. Secondly, what other options do we have? Basically, they are people that have been tried over time. They have been tested over time, and they have failed over time. Now, he has come with, this is what he speaks to the people. You see, this story of one person saying, I used my car to take your wife to the hospital when she was about to give birth, so now you have to vote me. Another one saying, I speak the same language with you, I am the only one you need. He doesn't go with that story. He has never asked the Christians to vote him because he is a Christian. He has never asked the Igbos to vote him because he's Igbo.
Yeah, but there are allegations that he's sort of going around to, especially the northern parts of the country, speaking with the northern minorities and allegedly trying to stir up emotions between northern minority Christians and, the dominant majority Muslims within those particular states. Is that a strategy? Don't you think that strategy in itself may likely, face some hiccups?
Well, basically, first of all, nothing like that is existent. I think it's a lie concocted. Just a couple of days ago, it was built by the governor of Kaduna State, who accused him of being a bi-god and all of that. The problem is, he has this profound effect on people. Should he stop for a midweek prayer, the media carries it and says Peter Obi went to church to do this. But every Muslim goes to the mosque, Detti goes to the mosque. And with the caliber of Detti, with the kind of person he is, you know he will definitely not have associated with anybody that writes on religion and ethnicity. Detti has a university. Whatever he does in that university is typical of the kind of person he is. When you go there, so it's not about, you are my cousin, you are my in-law, and all of that. No. And then, so the lie about trying to use, and then the story of majority and minority is non-existent. Typically,
you think so, especially in northern part of
no,
the country?
in the northern, it's a propaganda in the northern part of the country, a certain lie. And like I said, I know the chief propagandist is the governor of Kaduna State, who has gone around virtually every media station talking about Christian enclaves. So you appeal to ethnic sentiments, you appeal to religious sentiments, and then you accuse someone else of doing it. So a villain is working hard to play the victim.
All right, I'll just ask you to hold on there. Let's go on a short break, and when we come back from the break, we'll be talking about President Muhammadu Buhari setting up a transition committee in the face of fears that there may be an interim government, elections may not hold, and all of that. Isn't that supposed to be some sort of succor? But well, some members of the opposition are thinking otherwise. When we come back from the break, we'll be talking about that. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. I'm Samuel Sambo, and you're still watching This Week. Now, ahead of the presidential election to be held on February 25th, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the establishment of a Presidential Transition Council to facilitate and manage the 2023 transition program. He has also signed Executive Order Number 14 of 2023 on the facilitation and management of the presidential transitions. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, in a statement signed on his behalf by Director of Information Office of the SGF, Willie Bassi, announced the Transition Council will be inaugurated by the SGF on February 14, Valentine's Day. Members of the committee include the SGF as chairman, head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Solicitor General of the Federation, and Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Justice, the National Security Advisor, Chief of Defense Staff, Inspector General of Police, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Director General of the State Security Services, Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and 2 representatives to be nominated by the President-elect and others. Well, to look at this discourse, I still have with me Edozie Ezeugwa, who is a member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, and of course, Zari Yusuf is a member of the Obidati Independent Campaign Council. Gentlemen, welcome back from the break. Let me start with you, Edozie. I mean, we're talking about this, and you gave a hint earlier on about the fears of an interim government here and there, and of course, the APC presidential candidate actually saying that there are fears that some people want to bring up an interim government. Now we are seeing the president setting up a transition council when there is no president-elect yet. And in that transition council, he's saying that there will be 2 representatives of the president-elect, and the council is to be inaugurated on February 14. That's on Valentine's Day, just a few days from now, when there's no president-elect. So whose representatives will be there? Is it the representative of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the APC presidential candidate, or that of Atiku Abubakar, or that of Peter Obi, or that of Kwankwaso, or he will choose 2 from all of them? Because in the past, we've always seen this transition council being put in place only when there's a president-elect. I remember in 2015, it was sometime in April when the elections had been held and President Muhammadu Buhari had been elected. That was when then President Goodluck Jonathan set up his own transition council, and it happened, years backward. So what do you have to say about this?
Well, these are one of the things we are worried about from the beginning of this administration to at this moment that this thing came up. You can see a lot of, confusion, and sometimes you begin to doubt so many things, the sincerities of the government. I was thinking, like you mentioned, what the law says, the Constitution of the Federal Republic, we operate with the Constitution. You now decide to constitute a transitional committee with that input of the incoming president. It can only allot to him the power to only nominate 2 persons to join. I don't know what the law says about this. Our Constitution.
There's no law. That's why there's an executive order that's been signed by President Buhari.
If there's an executive order, issued by the president to the National Assembly for them to come up with. But the fact remains that if you want to do something like that, you must make sure that every stakeholder has to be on board. You must be able to consider who and who. I don't see it as one of the immediate needs for them, unless he's trying to prove to the international community or Nigerians that he has his sincerity, his body language, that he has to hand over, that he has to move, that there will be no need for interim government or whichever way, or even to shift the date of elections. But left to me, I will think if you want to do things, you must try to do it in such a way that all the stakeholders, all the people that matter must be on the board. It's not issues that we sleep and wake up again and start constituting a committee.
All right, and I come to you, Azari. Let's talk about this. Isn't it a measure of some sort of sincerity for President Buhari to want to do that? I mean, by constituting these to show people that, like he has said, that he's prepared to be able to get ready to hand over. And then, of course, one of the important things that he mentioned, there are 2 slots for the president-elect. Now, should we take it that that 2 slots is going to be left empty, or how do we people that 2 slots that's supposed to come from a president-elect that has yet to emerge?
Well, to be very honest with you, I think that sort of that is supposed to show commitment. But if we want to critically look at it, to a large extent, it could stir more suspicion when you look at the composition of it. And you say to yourself exactly, well, the elections haven't held yet. So from one end, we could say, indeed, it's a commitment to show that we are not moving this election. We are committed to making sure it takes place and all of that. But like I said, of course, it's a presidential order. And then there are a whole lot of things you could do with your executive powers and all of that. But I think checking the pulse of the nation, looking at what people fear, looking at what the APC recently is pushing for, an extension, and all of those things.
The APC has denied, the APC as a party saying that it's prepared for elections. They have opposition parties like yours that are planting the stories that they are not prepared for elections.
They have denied a whole lot of things. They have denied the bullion van. I think somebody sat down in broad daylight and told Nigerians it was empty, it missed its way. Another one said the incoherent speeches were doctored and all of that. So the APC is capable of virtually everything. So, well, quite frankly, if with a measure of sincerity, we would say it's supposed to demonstrate that this is happening. So
should Nigerians give the president benefit of doubt?
At the moment, I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes, at the moment, I would say yes. However, of course, like I said, we are dealing with people that are full of surprises. So basically, we shouldn't be surprised about anything. But
all right. And yes. As we try to round off this conversation, Ezeugwa, let's talk about the Labour Party. If you are insisting that Peter Obi is going to win this election, are you already setting up your own transition council, your own campaign team? Are you considering setting up something like that? I mean, because you're so super confident that Peter Obi is going to win this election, according to you.
Yeah, from the look of things, and being practical and facing the things the way it is. I'm not a gambler. I've never been involved in gambling. I'm on the field. And based on the facts and figures, I know that Nigerians cannot wait a second again to elect Peter Obi as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are moving. We are so confident because we know what we are doing. We are not gambling anywhere at all. I am quite sure that Peter will win that election at the first, not even talking about the second runoff.
The runoff.
But some people are afraid. They have started to jitter here and there. And you can see the fears on their face and all kind of things. You remember, I told you, the person that is holding the ball in a game of football that people pursue, they pursue him like any other person, crazy to start the ball. But Peter will not release until he scores.
Okay, very interesting perspective. Yeah. And to you, as we just try to round off the conversation, how sure are you that in this 14 days that's left before election day, that Peter Obi will emerge winner. I mean, we've seen both the governing party and then the main opposition saying that Peter Obi may come third. In fact, one person even said fourth position. So what
yes,
do you
well, that's their wishful thought. First of all, Peter Obi has broken he's establishing a new voting pattern where you don't just lock up a state and say it's going left or it's going right. He has brought to the people the ground to ask every candidate, what exactly are you bringing to the table? So he has established that. He has broken the jinx in Kano. He has broken it in Sokoto. Bauchi, that everybody would have thought he would just go and be alone in this. I mean, come on. I've said it, there are places he has gone that other politicians, even from those localities, cannot dare go.
Well, appealing to the minorities, like Erufai said. So are you so confident that in your campaign you can start preparing for a transition council to like President Buhari is already doing?
Oh yeah, that's right. These are very meticulous people. Peter will be dirty, so they will not come in and have to spend half a year contemplating
a lot of
things.
Confidence here
yes.
by these two gentlemen from the opposition Labour Party. And of course, it's been their mega rally that's ongoing in Lagos, and this is the last rally that they are having as from state to state. And of course, Peter Obi has toured almost every state in the country, except for Adamawa in difference. I think it was in Adamawa. Yeah. Okay, it was during his PDP days that he had deferred going to Adamawa because of his respect for Atiku Abubakar. But this time around, he actually took the campaigns there. And of course, we're all waiting to see what will happen on February 25. That's in 14 days' time. If indeed your optimism will come to play, as you have assured Nigerians that you're hopeful that Peter Obi will emerge the winner. Well, the February 25th elections are almost upon us. Use your PVC wisely. Don't buy votes. Don't sell your votes either. I must thank our studio guest here. Zari Yusuf is a member of the Obidati Independent Campaign Council. And of course, Chief Edozie Ezeugwa is of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. We must thank you for being here. And I'm Sam Nasambo. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.